And everybody has it. So please, you may proceed to move your, go ahead with your lead debate.
Very distinguished senators, with your permission, I present the lead debate on the 2025 Appropriation Bill 2024 SB 681. Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, the lead debate on the general principles of the year 2025 Appropriation Bill, which was laid before this chamber on Wednesday, the 18th day of December 2024, by Mr. President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The bill is deemed to have been read the first time by virtue of it being laid before the joint session of the National Assembly on Wednesday, 18th December 2024. Mr. President, my highly esteemed colleagues, this bill seeks to authorize the issue out of the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation the total sum of 49 trillion 740 billion 165 million 355,396 naira only for the year ending on the 31st day of December 2025. The 2025 budget proposal, christened Budget of Restoration, Securing Peace, Rebuilding Prosperity, strikes at the very core of the Renewed Hope agenda and demonstrates this administration's commitment to stabilizing the economy, improving lives, and repositioning our country for greater performance. The 2025 budget has seen a significant increase of 74.18%, reaching 49.7 trillion in nominal terms, signaling a bold fiscal strategy aimed at addressing persistent infrastructure gaps and development challenges. However, in dollar terms, Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, the budget contracted by 23.22%, dropping from $36.7 billion in 2024 to $28.18 billion in 2025. This reduction in real value limits the potential impact of the budget on economic growth and the well-being of the population. It is important to note at the onset that this proposal is not strange to us here in the National Assembly, having approved the mid-term expenditure framework and the medium-term fiscal framework. What remains for us is to closely examine the contents and the details in order to sort things out and smoothen the rough edges. The major highlights of the budget are basic assumptions and parameters: oil price benchmark of $75 per barrel, daily oil production estimate of 2.06 million barrels per day, exchange rate of 1,500 naira per US dollar, and a total of 13.08 trillion naira, or 4.6% of GDP, and 15.75% inflation rate. B. 2025 Revenue and Expenditure Summary. The proposed expenditure for the year 2025 is 49.7 trillion. The total retained revenue is 34.82 trillion. Fiscal deficit stands at 13.08 trillion. Distinguished colleagues, the key priorities towards rebuilding Nigeria in the 2025 proposed budget estimate will amount to a total expenditure that is projected to be 49.7 trillion naira, and key notable highlights of the 2025 budget allocations, which are aimed towards rebuilding the country, are defense and security, 4.91 trillion naira, infrastructure, 4.06 trillion naira, health, 2.48 trillion naira, education, 3.52 trillion naira, 15.81 trillion naira for debt servicing, others 17.12 trillion naira. The 2025 budget overview. Mr. President, my highly esteemed colleagues, the 2025 budget is a reflection of the theme which centered on securing peace and rebuilding prosperity. The proposal tells a bold and exciting story on the direction the government is taking towards revamping the socio-economic fabric of our society. This can be seen through the lofty dreams of projected drop in inflation from its current rate of 34.6% to 15% next year, projected improvement in exchange rate from approximately 1,700 naira per US dollar to 1,500 naira per US dollar, projected crude oil production of 2.06 million barrels per day, reduction in importation of petroleum products alongside increased export of finished petroleum products, projected bumper harvest driven by enhanced security, reducing reliance on food imports, increased foreign exchange inflows through foreign portfolio investments, and higher crude oil output and exports, coupled with a substantial reduction in upstream oil and gas production costs. Mr. President, my highly esteemed colleagues, this bill will further consolidate the key policies instituted to restructure our economy, boost human capital development, increase the volume of trade and investment, bolster oil and gas production, get our manufacturing sector humming again, and ultimately increase the competitiveness of our economy. Finally, Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, I believe that all the proposals in this 2025 appropriation bill are laudable and will enhance the critical needs of the citizens of our country. I therefore urge my colleagues to approve the second reading of this bill for consideration by the Appropriation Committee and its subcommittees, being the standing committees of this Senate. Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, I thank you for listening.
President,